The Brooklyn Nets continue to roll. This is really becoming an incredible story, Rob. They've won 14 of 15.
And Chris, let's just, like, people want to say last night, well, you know, they only beat the Pacers. Here's the only thing. They gave up 40 points in the first quarter, Chris. They were down 40-25 on the road, right? No Kyrie, no Durant. You can lose that game, can't you?
Oh, absolutely.
You can lose that game and nobody would say boo.
You and I covered the NBA for a long time. It doesn't matter who they played. Now, if you want to look at it and say, oh, these 14, 14 and 1 in the NBA, I don't care if you played the Minnesota Timberwolves every night. It's still impressive. All right? It's still tough. But first of all, Indiana's not a horrible team. They were a team that they've gone into a swoon lately, but they made the playoffs last year, obviously, had an all-star in Domantas Sabonis, and were playing well earlier in the year. And as you said, the Nets were without Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. And here's the big deal, Rob. They have done most of this without Kyrie Irving. Without Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant, right.
He's been out their last 13 games. So they've gone 12-1 without Kevin Durant. And James Harden, look, you and I were among the first. I don't know that we were the first. But we were among the first to say, look, this dude has to be in the MVP conversation. He's playing phenomenal basketball. And last night, he does it again, Rob, with the only way to describe what he did last night is to call it a whopping triple-double. It wasn't your average run-of-the-mill triple-double. It was a 40-point, 15-dime 10-rebound triple-double, right?
And they needed every point, and they needed every bit of it. I mean, this was not padding some stats at the end. They were down big, and they came back, and I'm with you. You keep looking at this guy. How is he not going to be in the MVP conversation? They just keep rolling. Who's going to stop them? And God forbid, Chris, they actually get Kevin Durant back, and he's healthy and playing well.
Right.
Really?
Which I still expect him to be back healthy. Obviously, the longer he's out, you know, human nature is to wonder a little bit what in the world is going on. But I'm going to throw out a hypothetical at you because Kyrie, I think Kyrie was just resting. I'm sure he'll be back for their next game.
Yeah, he's missed a couple games like that, resting. And he comes right back, and he seems to be fine.
I'm going to throw it. Well, he ain't because he ain't hurt.
Right.
I'm going to throw this out there. This is a topic for another day, but I will throw it out in the ether. Because I was talking to a former NBA player about this when Kyrie was out on his 2-week sabbatical or whatever you want to call it. Rob, just as we've seen load management, and what Kyrie's doing is a light form of load management, but just as we've seen load management kind of come into play throughout the NBA, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, what Kyrie took was a mental health break, really. And I wouldn't be surprised if perhaps in the future you start seeing a little something like that. If a guy just mentally needs a little break.
Yeah, only thing is he lost money behind that, so it'll be interesting if people really buy into it. It's not like people are giving you time off for, you know, just
right.
You can be away from the team for 2 weeks. But it's money involved, right?
Right.
There's no way they're going to pay you.
This former player was saying that might be something the players want to look at putting, you know, collectively bargaining. Just because sometimes guys need a break. And I was like, well, hold on. A lot of guys could just take advantage of it. It's a very, very gray area, very much a gray area. He said you'd have to bring in, obviously, psychologists and things like that.
And then when you're doing all that, Chris, it just now they got to get cleared by the doctor. You got to go see somebody. You know what I mean? Like, it becomes way more involved.
Right.
And they're not going to pay you 2 weeks pay not to play. I mean, there's no way.
The best way you could probably do it is if you just personally talk with your team about it. And maybe you do play without the pay. You know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously, if you're at that level of player, Kyrie's not sweating the money he lost.
No.
But it'll be interesting. But here's what I wanted to throw at you, Rob. Do you think, because they've beaten some good teams in this stretch.
No,
okay?
their record
like
is phenomenal against the better teams in the league.
Yeah, and some of the teams were missing some of their key players. So, but again, they're missing their key players.
Thank you.
All right?
I was just going to say, like, if you want to say, well, there was no AD, there was no Kevin Durant.
There was no KD either.
Right.
So they beat Boston during this run, San Antonio, which is a legitimate team during this run, the Clippers, the Lakers, Phoenix, the Golden State, who's playing
Phoenix on the road, Golden State on the road.
Lakers, Clippers on the road.
Yep.
They went 5-0 out west. So here's what I'm going to throw out at you, Rob. Do you think they could win the championship without Kevin Durant? And I fully expect them to be back, as do you. But I'm just throwing it out there. Could they win the championship
I think
without
it would
KD?
be easier with Kevin Durant, but I think formidably, like if you just look at the roster, the team that they have, I think Kyrie and Harden go together. I'm just saying, like to me, KD is like slam dunk is going to happen. Could Harden and Kyrie win? I think they could win. They need a lot more things to go right. Other people contribute, Chris, but it's not like they have no shot without KD. I just think it's a slam dunk with KD, and maybe it's a layup that could roll off the rim if something doesn't go right. Do you know what I mean? Like something like that.
I'm not as sold on you. I mean, I think they look like the best team in the NBA right now. You know, when you imagine Kevin Durant in there with Harden and Kyrie, I would not pick them to win it without Kevin Durant. Now, can they? I mean, I can say a lot of teams can. You know, the Clippers can. I'm not thinking they will. Milwaukee, I don't even think they could. Philadelphia could. I mean, I guess. But I don't think I'd even pick the Nets to win the East without Durant. Again, they'd have a shot. But I don't think they could beat a healthy Lakers team without Kevin Durant. I think AD would run wild. And obviously they've got the great backcourt, but I just don't think that – I think the Lakers would be able to take them out. The Clippers, my problem with the Clippers is just they don't play well in the clutch, and they've shown that they might not have the chops for it. We'll see. But I don't think the Nets could beat the Lakers healthy without Kevin Durant. I think Durant, Rob, and Kyrie, and certainly Durant and Harden could win a championship. It'd be tough against the Lakers, and maybe they wouldn't even be favored, but I think they could. Here's the thing. It's interesting because they all have their role. Like Harden is the facilitator, right? Who obviously can go get you tons of points if he needs to. But we've seen him falter in big moments. KD is just a bucket, a walking bucket, and all that. Yet we haven't seen him really lead a team to a championship. He's been their best player, but lead a team. Kyrie, while I think he's the third best player, he is the one that I think he's their closer. Like, he's not, the moment's not going to be too big for him.
No, he's done it before. He's made big shots. Even in the NBA Finals in that, those couple years, he averaged like 27 points or whatever it was, Chris. Like, he's a big-time player on a big-time stage. And I don't like, he doesn't shrink to me. He doesn't shrink.
He won't shrink. And like I said, Harden, the jury's out. I mean, most people think he shrinks at this point.
Well, but playing this way might be just what he needs. You know what I mean?
Like this is what I mean, because Magic had the baby sky hook, but it wasn't like Magic was necessarily the closer. You know what I mean? You had Kareem. Obviously, they went to him in '88 when they beat the Pistons on the Phantom foul call. So, yeah, Harden might just not be that closer, and that's fine. So he's got that guy now. So I do think they all have their role, which is great because that's how you fit together when the games are different and complementary. Let's get to the calls quickly, Rob. Can the Nets win it without Kevin Durant, it being the finals?
All right, let's kick it off with Sean in Sacramento. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Sean?
My uncle's from another mother, man. Hey, y'all need to stop it, and no way, no how, man. This is the Houston Rockets East, brother. They still don't play no kind of defense. Even though they look great right now in the regular season, so did the Rockets. As soon as you got to win those 4 out of 7 games, you start seeing those weaknesses. And who's the defensive player on this team that's going to help stop anybody, man? There's nobody on this squad that plays a lick of defense.
During this run, they've been ranked 14th in the league defensively.
Exactly, which is all you need to be, Sean.
You're saying this without KD, right?
Right.
Which I would agree with you. But are you saying this with KD that they're not going to be able to win it either?
Even with KD, there's still no interior defender. Everybody was talking about they're going to get Drummond. They're going to get all these guys.
Hardly anybody in the league has interior defense. Plus, nobody's punishing you at the rim anymore.
And where's the Lakers' rim protectors?
Right.
Where are they?
Right. Seriously.
Sean, where are they?
They gave up their 2 rim protectors.
They got nobody protecting the rim. Who?
They
got Anthony Davis. That's it. But I'm just saying he's not there. People always bring that rim protection, interior play. Man, this is a different NBA now.
You can't even touch people, Chris. It's a foul. What defense?
I hear you, Sean, down. But they don't have to be the bad boys.
No.
Because nobody's going to be able to stop them.
Yep.
They just have to be adequate.
Max in Georgia, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Max?
What's up, fellas? I don't know. I'm good. I hope you guys are. This is funny to me. The Lakers won it with AD and Rondo, so certainly they could win a title. I don't know what Sean was speaking about. Normally he's a little bit more on point tonight, but I wanted to say, for me, this would be an indictment on Sam Presti and OKC because we should have seen Harden and Durant a long time ago, in my opinion. So that's what I want.
It's an interesting point because
that is a good point.
They should have been able to find a way to have Harden start at point guard. And Westbrook, I know Westbrook couldn't shoot and still can't really shoot, but still, you find a way. You put him at the 2, you put the ball in Harden's hands, and you start all 3 of them. And I know they were young and all that, but that's a good point, Rob. They had 3 MVPs, and they don't have a title to show for it.
Yep. They were there. They got to the finals. Won game 1.
And they were young.
Kevin Durant got fouled at the end of game 2, and then they never won another game. That was it. But they got there.